The year is 2020, the world locked down, silenced by a virus. But in the digital shadows, a different kind of darkness thrived. Journalist Carl Miller and hacker Chris Monteiro, partners in digital exploration, ventured into the dark web. Their mission to understand its murky depths. What they found would chill them to the core. Navigating through layers of encrypted websites, they stumbled upon something sinister, a Hitmen-for-Hire site. Not unusual for the dark web, except for one thing, the chilling reality lurking beneath its facade. This was no ordinary scam. This was different. It was a playground for the disturbed, a marketplace for murder, a digital graveyard waiting to be filled. Little did they know they had opened a Pandora's box of fear, deceit, and the darkest corners of the human psyche. Their discovery would force them to confront not just a criminal enterprise, but the profound vulnerability of life in the digital age. The website, slick and professional, promised discretion and results. A hitman for any occasion, any target, but one section stopped them cold, the kill list. It was a catalogue of dread. Names, addresses, photographs, intimate details of daily routines. It was meticulously compiled, readily exploitable. Each entry wasn't just a name, it was a life, laid bare, ready for extermination. Miller and Monteiro felt a chill. This wasn't some dark fantasy. These were real people, hundreds of them. The details were chillingly specific, suggested methods of execution, vulnerabilities, meticulously detailed. This wasn't just about fear, it was about maximizing the harm, amplifying the terror. It was evil, distilled into data points. The weight of their discovery pressed down on them. They had stumbled onto something monstrous, and they were the only ones who knew. The names on the list were chillingly ordinary. Teachers, shopkeepers, mothers, students, everyday people living everyday lives, completely unaware that they were marked for death. Miller and Monteiro were faced with an impossible choice. Remain silent and risk innocent lives, or speak out and risk tipping off the perpetrators. Their conscience made the decision for them. They had to act. They had to warn these people. But how do you tell someone they're on a hit list? How do you explain the unexplainable? This wasn't a threat you could easily dismiss. This was real. This was imminent. Their discovery wasn't just about data anymore. It was about saving lives. Alerting the authorities was their first instinct, but the dark web was a labyrinth, its denizens masters of anonymity. Evidence was scant, the authorities skeptical. Time was slipping away. Each tick of the clock, a potential death knell. Miller and Monteiro knew they couldn't rely on traditional means. They had to take matters into their own hands. They decided to warn the potential victims directly, a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Contacting strangers with news like this felt surreal, like something out of a nightmare. But they were determined. They had seen the list. They knew the danger was real. Each call was a gamble, a desperate plea for belief in a story that sounded like madness. They were racing against time, against an enemy they couldn't see, fighting a threat no one wanted to believe. Section 5. Whispers of disbelief. The reactions to their warnings were a mixture of disbelief, fear, and paranoia. Some dismissed them as cranks, others as cruel pranksters. But for some, the warnings struck a chord, a terrifying resonance with their own lives. Had a recent argument escalated to something more sinister? Was a disgruntled acquaintance capable of such darkness? The seeds of doubt had been sown. The kill list, once a distant nightmare, was now an insidious presence in their lives. The victims were forced to confront a terrifying reality. Anyone could be behind it. A jealous lover, a scorned business partner, a stranger with a grudge. The digital world had encroached upon their reality, turning the mundane into a source of terror. The very foundations of their lives, trust, security, normalcy, crumbled beneath them. As the investigation deepened, a name surfaced repeatedly: Ura, the elusive mastermind behind the operation, pulling the strings from the shadows, a ghost in the machine. Law enforcement agencies from 11 countries joined the hunt, their efforts coordinated by Interpol. The dark web, once a haven of anonymity, was slowly being illuminated. Raids were conducted, servers seized, arrests made. The operation was vast, its tentacles reaching across continents. But Ura remained elusive, a phantom menace. Each captured associate, each uncovered layer of the operation, only deepened the mystery. Who was this figure who commanded such loyalty? Who orchestrated such fear? The answer, it seemed, lay buried deep within the labyrinthine depths of the dark web, a place where shadows reigned and identities were fluid. The investigation culminated in a series of coordinated raids, spanning continents and culminating in over 30 arrests. But Ura, the enigmatic puppet master, remained elusive. The investigation, though successful in dismantling the operation, left a chilling question unanswered. Who was Yura, and what motivated such calculated cruelty? The victims, forever marked by the experience, were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The knowledge that they were targeted, that their lives were deemed expendable, left an indelible scar on their psyches. The scam, despite not physically harming anyone, had inflicted a different kind of violence. A violence that chipped away at their sense of safety, their trust in the world. Justice, it seemed, was a fickle mistress, present in the apprehension of the perpetrators, yet absent in the continued freedom of the mastermind. The Hitmen-for-Hire website was no more, shut down, its servers seized. But the psychological impact on its victims lingered, a constant reminder of their vulnerability in the digital age. The fear, once so pervasive, was replaced by a haunting unease. The world, once a place of familiar routines, now held an undercurrent of suspicion. Every unfamiliar face, every unexpected encounter, brought a flicker of fear. Their lives, once lived in the open, were now touched by a need for caution, a constant awareness of their surroundings. The scam, though ultimately unsuccessful in its murderous intent, had succeeded in something far more insidious. It had sown the seeds of paranoia, shattered their sense of security, and left them grappling with the unseen hand of fear. The digital world, once a source of connection and information, was now a reminder of their vulnerability, a chilling testament to the dark potential of human nature. The story of the kill list is a stark reminder of the dark underbelly of the digital age. It highlights the vulnerability of our interconnected world, where anonymity can be a weapon and trust a fragile commodity. The internet, a tool of unprecedented power and potential, can also be a breeding ground for fear, manipulation, and violence. The case of Yura remains a chilling reminder of the challenges we face in the digital age. The fight against cybercrime is an ongoing battle, a constant race to stay one step ahead of those who seek to exploit the vulnerabilities of our interconnected world. The kill list serves as a warning, a reminder that the digital and physical worlds are inextricably intertwined, and the threats we face online can have very real consequences in our offline lives. We must remain vigilant, aware of the potential dangers lurking in the digital shadows, and committed to protecting ourselves and each other from those who seek to do us harm.